So the next part of the review has to do with factoring here. So let's go ahead and let's review how to factor. So if your a here is 1 out here on the outside, we can go ahead and just factor this. So x times x is x squared. What times what gives us, what multiplies to give us 20 and adds to give us -1. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, -5 times 4 will multiply to give me -20 and add to give me -1. So -5 and +4. The kind of the same thing here for this next one here. What multiplies to give me 24 and adds to give me 11. So I first put my x's in here. Multiplies to give me 24, so it's got to be two negatives and adds to give me a -11. So -6 and -4, no, those add to give me -10. What about a -12 and a -2? No, those add to give me -14. What about a -8 and -3? Yeah, those multiply to give me 24 and add to give me -11. And then coming down here, now we've got an a value that's not equal to 1 here. So this is when you're going to use your x method here. So you remember this goes ax squared plus bx plus c. So my ac there is -14. My b there is -5. So what two numbers multiply to give me -14 and add to give me -5? And I'm thinking -7 and 2. So I'm going to rewrite these with the x's in here. 2x squared and then plus 2x minus 7x minus 7. I'm going to group them together. GCF in these first two here are 2x. I'm left with x plus 1. GCF of these next two are -7, and I'm left with x plus 1. So notice these two terms here share an x plus 1. What's left on the outside? 2x minus 7. So there it is factored. And we could do the same thing with letter D here. Again, this is your ax squared plus bx plus c here. So what multiplies to give us AC and adds to give us B? Well, AC there is 30 and B there is 11. So two numbers that multiply to give me 30 and add to give me 11 would be 6 and 5. So I'm going to put my x's in there. So rewriting this, rewriting the first term straight down there, just rewriting that middle term there, plus 6x plus 5x, and then writing down 10 here again. So all I did was just rewrite 11x using 6x plus 5x, and I left the other two terms alone. So grouping them together, first two there pull out a 3x, I'm left with x plus 2. The next two there pull out a 5, I'm left with x plus 2. So now these two terms, what do they have in common? X plus 2. What am I left over there with? 3x plus 5. So there it is, completely factored. And then we just have a few more here. These here, the first thing I'm going to do is look for GCF now, because I'm looking at these thinking, oh yeah, they have a 2 in common, and I always look for that first. So I pull a 2 out, and I'm left with x squared minus x minus 20. And now I can factor that. So now the a terms here is 1 here, so it's easy to factor x and x. What multiplies to give me -20 and adds to give me -1, that'd be -5 and a +4. So I had to pull the 2 out here first, and that's part of the factoring here. So it's 2 times x minus 5 times x plus 4 is my solution. That is completely factored. F there, the numbers are getting kind of big there, so I'm thinking, is there a GCF in there? I think 3 goes into all of those. Let me see. So I've got an x squared minus 11x plus 24. Yeah. So then this got an a term here in front. Two numbers multiply to give me x squared. Two numbers that multiply to give me 24 and add to give me -11 there. That would be a -8 and a -3. So that 3 times x minus 8 times x minus 3 is my solution. Letter G there, not seeing a GCF there, thinking, well, maybe, because I can take the square root of my first term and I can take the square root of my last term there. I'm thinking it might be one of those perfect square trinomials. So I'm going to go ahead and think, oh, square root of 4x squared there is 2x. I'm just going to try it out and see if this works. Square root of 49 there is 7. So I need to be able to multiply to give me a positive 49 there and add to give me a negative 28. So it's got to be a minus a minus. And then I'm going to check my inners and my outers here. So I get negative 14x and a negative 14x. And they do add to give me a negative 28x. So we're good. There it is, factor 2x minus 7 times 2x minus 7. Letter H there, we've got 9x squared minus 100. So I only have two terms here. And so right away I'm thinking, can I go ahead and do this? Because I bet you it's the difference of squares. So square root of 9x squared is 3x. Square root of 100 there is 10. And then one's a plus and one's a minus. So there it is with the difference of squares and then the perfect squares. So our last ones here are factored by grouping here. So let's go ahead and look at those. Looking at those two, I'm going to group the first two together and then I'm going to group the last two together. So doing that, grouping the first two, grouping the last two. First two have in common of 2x squared. I'm left with x minus 3. The second two there have a 4 in common. I'm left with an x minus 3. So now these two terms here have in common an x minus 3. And I'm left over the outside there, 2x squared plus 4. If you want, we could continue to factor this too. There's a 2 here in common, so we could pull another 2 out. So if I pull a 2 out of this term that I over here underlined here, I get an x squared plus 2. But again, I'll take either one of these. Part B here, factor that by grouping. So I'm going to group the first two, group the last two. Pulling the GCF out of there, I get x squared. I'm left with 3x minus 2. Over here, I have a 4 that they have in common, and I'm left with 3x minus 2. So then they have the parentheses there in common, 3x minus 2, and we're left there with x squared plus 4. And we can't go ahead and do anything else with those, so we're done. So there you have it, factoring. So a good little review on that. So good luck with you on factoring.